Hi guys, welcome back. We're inside the airplane right now. We're doing the approach to Toncontin. We are at 8,200 feet and descending to 8,000, and we are headed towards the point Melville. Now here comes 8,000 feet. Let's level off. Alright, we're just a little bit under it right now. Hang on, let's make a turn to follow our flight path. Okay, we're just under 8,000 feet right now, which is really not good. Let's get up to 8,200. Now remember what I told you before about this approach. In Flight Simulator, it's a lot harder to control the altitudes. So in real life, it would be plus or minus 100. In the simulator, it's going to be plus or minus 200. In Toncontin's case, at Toncontin, because this is such a dangerous approach, at least in real life, we're going to take that plus or minus 200 foot margin and we're going to add that 200 feet to our minimums. In this case, from point Melville to the point 17, we're going to be at 8,200 feet. Alright, rolling out, heading for the point T017 or point 17 for short, 8,200 feet. The airspeed is good and we're looking good right now. Now as you can see, for this approach I've actually made it a very tough approach on myself. I went to full IMC instrument conditions. One thing we have to remember about instrument conditions is that we need to keep our eyes inside. There really is nothing to see outside. We are flying solely by reference to our instruments. If our eyes keep going up and down trying to look outside, we can get into real trouble real fast. So we have to be disciplined and keep our eyes on our instruments. By the way, I love the PMDG 737 series airplanes because you can actually hear the trim. You get that little noise. And the good part about it is that you guys actually get to see how much trim I'm using. I'm almost flying the plane just by trim. That's how important the trim is. Here comes point 17. We're at 8,200 feet. Let's start our turn to point 15. And as we start our turn, we're going to start our descent to 7,000 feet. In this case, 7,200 feet. We're going to be plus 200 feet. On our altitude bug, we're going to put 7,000 feet as a reminder. Remember, when we're flying these approaches, where we have these minimum descent points, whether it's an ATC assigned or it's an approach assigned, we always want to put it into our altitude bug, or in case of a heading, we always want to use a heading bug as a reminder. Because so many things are going on during instrument flying, it's always good to have these reminders of the altitudes we should be at or headings we should be at. This is easy because as far as headings, we can just follow the magenta line, so that's easy, but in this case, we are going to use those altitude bugs. So we're at 7,500 and descending. We're about to overfly the point 15. Let's start our turn to the point 14. At the same time, we can start our descent to 6,800 feet plus 200 feet. And in this case, we're only descending about 200 feet from point 15 to point 14. So we really want to take it easy in this part. We really want to be under control during this part of the approach. We're going to keep our instrument scan going. Our airspeed is good, altitude is good, altitude is coming up. Let's start leveling off so we don't go under our minimums. Now let's talk about one more point just as we're about to overfly the point 14. If you look on the right side of the screen, the auto braking, I have set the auto braking here at 2. A lot of you guys are saying, well, shouldn't it be maximum because it's a short runway? Well, no, not really. I've put it at 2 to give me a more realistic braking, because in the flight simulator, these airplanes tend to brake really good. Now in real life that does not happen. You're not going to stop a 737 in a matter of 2,000 feet. So as far as the realism go, for maximum braking, I always set it to 2 in the airliners. Okay, let's put our altitude bug to 6,300. That's what we need to be at point 13. We are over the point 14. That's our final approach fix. Let's put the landing gear down. I know we're starting to see the ground a little bit, and that is fine, but we still need to keep our eyes on the inside. We still need to keep that instrument scan going. If our eyes keep shifting from the inside to the outside back to the inside, we can lose control of this aircraft very fast. So until we're completely out of the clouds, we're going to keep our eyes on the inside. Okay, we just overflew the point 13 and we're headed towards the point 12. From point 13, we're going to descend down from 6,300 feet to 5,700 feet. Now, we have been staying above this whole time, which is fine. It's okay to stay a little bit above the minimum altitudes, especially in a weather like this. But we're still under control, we're still scanning our instruments, and so far, so good. Flaps to 15, airspeed 155 is a reminder. Okay, we're a little bit above 5,700 feet.
2,500.
And we are descending to 4,200 feet. Now 4,200 feet, actually it's 4,144, but 4,200 feet is our minimum descent altitude. If we don't have the runway or runway lights in sight, we're not going to go beneath 4,200 feet. So at point 11, we're at 4,200 feet, we don't see the runway, we don't see the runway lights, we're doing a missed approach. Okay, now we're breaking out of the clouds. As soon as we break out of the clouds, we're going to start flying visually. We're going to cross-check with our instruments to make sure our airspeed is fine and the altitude is fine. But at this point, since we can see outside, we're flying visually. Okay, so there's that hill. Just to the left of it is that road, and we're following the road. If we look to the left, we're going to see the airport. We see the airport, so we go for a landing. At this point, we see the turn at the road.
1,000.
Now, this turn at the road, we're going to start our turn. From this point on, we're going to start turning to the little crossroads, to that little crossroad flower, and we're going to use that crossroad flower to turn onto the final. Okay, as we're turning, there's the crossroads. Let's keep that turn in. Let's make sure we don't get too slow.
500.
We're just about over the crossroads. There's the
400.
runway.
Don't think.
And let's roll out.
Don't think. 300.
Okay, we overshot a little bit. It doesn't matter. Roll a little bit high. Airspeed is good. Put the nose slightly down. Make the adjustments real quick. We cannot go past the second taxiway.
100.
Let's get over the center line.
50. 40. 30. 20. 10.
Alright, we hit it. Reverse thrusters.